Reporters Without Borders urged California's Attorney General to take legal action against police violence targeting journalists covering the recent Los Angeles protests. They called for a civil lawsuit and a restraining order that would ban police from firing projectiles at clearly identified members of the press. The group documented nearly 40 incidents of violence against journalists, with at least 35 of those involving direct actions by law enforcement officers. During the protests, journalists were reportedly struck with tear gas, rubber bullets, sponge grenades, and pepper balls, despite showing visible press credentials. The unrest began after mass deportation raids sparked demonstrations, which later escalated into fires, property damage, and clashes with heavily armed police. Authorities declared a state of emergency in several neighborhoods, calling in federal forces and the National Guard to restore order. State officials challenged the deployment, arguing it violated local authority and required coordination with California's leadership before activation. A judge initially blocked federal forces from intervening, but that decision was overturned by a higher court just days later. Journalists, wearing press vests and helmets, were still targeted by officers using non-lethal force meant for crowd control. One reporter was hit in the leg with a sponge grenade, requiring surgery to remove fragments lodged near the bone. Another journalist was struck in the chest while documenting protests outside a Los Angeles police station, leaving severe bruising. A photojournalist from New York was shot in the forehead despite wearing a bright press badge and helmet. A foreign correspondent from Australia took a rubber bullet to the thigh during a live broadcast near a protest barricade. Multiple journalists reported being chased, pushed, or detained even after identifying themselves and showing valid press credentials. Press freedom organizations condemned the incidents, stating that reporters must be protected, not attacked, during moments of national crisis. They emphasized the crucial role of journalists in documenting civil unrest and informing the public through independent, on-the-ground reporting. Advocacy groups demanded immediate investigations into police actions and called for consequences for those who abused their authority. They argue the violent suppression of media workers undermines democratic values and erodes trust in law enforcement institutions. California's Attorney General is now under pressure to act, with demands for urgent legal measures to protect journalists. Reporters Without Borders declared that no journalist should fear violence simply for doing their job during protests or emergencies.